Welcome back. Dr. Belihua, your research pattern or your method of research for this report, you used close-ended questionnaires. Do you think if you had used open-ended questionnaires and maybe you had spread your reach, because you looked at about 496 companies, do you think the result would have been any different?
Well, thanks for that question. It's a methodological question. You know, as my old university professor would say, there are no rights or wrongs in research. There's just justification, justification, justification. All you need to do is to justify your methodology. But before coming to research, which is core, I want to take up a point Femi made, trying to pass on some of the bulk to the manufacturers. There's something called enabling business environment. Even in the heart of capitalism, the United States of America, the business environment is friendly. So you can't expect a manufacturer to invest in everything and still be taxed. For example, access to credit is one major big issue. I mean, let's break down these numbers and make it as simple as possible. I'll take Bauchi, for example. We were there last year for this survey. We came back to Bauchi this year. Bauchi Furniture, closed shop. The government used to be a major, major client, used to order, but now government is even struggling to pay salaries, so no business, closed shop. Superior Core Industries in Bauchi industrial layout, they used to manufacture building materials, closed shop. They are no more, in business. Alind, they are no more in business. Why? Okay, let's leave the big business, come to small business. So, Abarca Bakery. Abarca Bakery used to employ 40, 50 people. We're in the business of, making bread. And I asked Haji, I said, what is happening? What has happened? The business has closed. She said, when this recession started, flour, the price of flour was doubled. The price of sugar tripled. Will I continue to be in production and be making loss? I mean, I can't do that. I will end production. And that's how she stopped. I mean, this was someone who in 2014 got a UWIN grant, didn't know anybody, applied from Bauchi, got a UWIN grant, started building a small factory, a new factory, but now the business is grounded. And for us, the implication of all of this is what does it do to the poverty rate and to the unemployment rate? Unemployment rate currently sits at 14.2%, starts from MBS. Of course, 25% of that is the youth population. I personally usually like to look at also the underemployment rate. So you are a graduate, you don't have a job, but you are selling recharge cards just to keep body and soul together. So if you look at underemployment, you're looking at 21%. You add 21 plus 14, you have about 35% of the unemployment rate. So if factories begin to close shop and their workers begin to, they have to lay off their workers, imagine what it will cost to the economy. Poverty rate is currently at 67.1%, where MBS, the last data put out last year, says 112 million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. Oxfam, I think in May this year, put out their inequality report, which stated that 5 Nigerians, Dangote, Mike Adenuga, Otedola, Alakija, and I think Rabiu, can take Nigeria out of poverty. Last year sometime, Mexico released another report, the Graft and the Gift report, how Boko Haram has used financial services to gain support because they were providing communities access to finance. In fact, one of the key findings of that report from Mexico stated that Boko Haram's financial services was more accessible to get than conventional businesses. So what we are saying is that it's not, say, the methodology. We can look into the methodology and all of that. But what is really affecting the economy? How does it pan out? What is access to credit? Vincent can tell you the members of his chamber you know, I have all these engagements all the time. There's SME Development Fund. Does it get down to the SMEs? So when we talk about Forex, in fairness to CBN, 9.96 billion US dollars have been put into the Forex market to make Forex available. But it's not enough. So these were manufacturers who used to access Forex at 180, 190 to buy for raw materials, and today you're expecting them to buy at 350, 360. Who do they pass on that burden to? They can't pass it on to the consumers because cheap goods that are coming from China will take over the process. So they are in between. Yes, we're trying to get them to, you know, begin to source products locally, but the government has to help. That's where the value chain issue. The government has to help with backward integration. Vincent talked about the mining sector. A lot of work still has to be done there to make sure that manufacturers are able to source locally. At least if they're able to source inputs locally, it keeps the money in the country. It creates jobs for the country as opposed to taking jobs out of this country. So to come back to your question on the methodology, for us the methodology is a survey. I mean, this is the same survey we did last year, the same survey we conducted this year, to be able to compare. Manufacturers are saying 74%. The business environment is unsupportive. 14% increase from last year when 60% of manufacturers said that the business environment was unsupportive at the time. So I mean, these are the realities. It is enough to say, oh, manufacturers should be thinking out of the box. They should be. For how long? They need support to survive. Okay. The textile industry, for example, how much has been put into textile? Go to Sharada. We were there in Kano. You see only gate men. Most of the textile factories shut down. I mean, these are the realities.
Now, quickly, Mr. Wani, before we go, he spoke about cheap goods coming in from China. If Nigeria is really serious about buying Nigerian and making Nigerians buy Nigeria, is it not the government that will put the policy in place so that these cheap goods from China are not allowed in? I mean, if I have money in my pocket, I want to buy, say, a shirt. Made in Nigeria is 10 naira. Made in China is 5 naira.
You go to China.
Of course I'm going to go to China. But if it's not available, I'll then be forced to buy the one that's made in my country. Is government policy helping?
Government policy and government implementation. There are two different things in this country. The China we're talking about closed their borders at some point for about 10 years, you know, and everybody, of course, there were complaints and everything, but they have to pass through the process. Are we ready to go through that route? You know, why is government not patronizing innocent vehicles? Mm-hmm. You know, as we speak, Ghana have come to say, relocate to Ghana. Government will buy, except if you don't have what you need. That's the only way we can go and buy elsewhere. Is our people, are we getting this type of support? No. Senators are still importing billions and billions of worth of vehicles, BMWs, bulletproofs every day. So that is the part. So charity must begin at home. Okay. Government, somebody have to lead the way, and it will trickle down. You know, so that is the way to go. China, if you see what happened in China, a whole lot of support, like, and being Mr. Dr. Ihua, really, you can see when he was answering, he's part of the survey. So being part of the survey and knowing what he's doing shows that the methodology, and of course you have to be consistent with your methodology year to year so that you'll be able to compare outcome and everything. So to the listeners, we have a long way to go, and manufacturers must not die.
Your closing statement. 10 seconds.
Okay. For me, I'm glad about the positive rise that the indices have shown. It shows that we're on the right path. We're all aware of what the government is doing in terms of improving the business environment in the country. I'll also seek to ask the manufacturers as well that try to be more innovative, because we need to break away and determine if we want to be a capitalist economy or a socialist economy. Okay. If we constantly seek intervention, we're always going to create room and avenue for all these issues.
Well, the message to government is ease of doing business. We need to do something about that. And when government say give a policy, implement it. You know, just 1 minute.
No, you don't have 1 minute.
Okay.
That's why I'm sorry you may not be able to give your closing statement because Vincent has taken your time. I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and your report with us, Dr. Bello Ihua, Managing Director, CEO of NOI Polls, Mr. Femi Onaka, Business Development Specialist, and Vincent Nwani, Director, Advocacy and Research, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts with us. And Sunrise will be back shortly. Please stay with us.